All right, folks. So yeah, new haircut. I kind of cleaned my kitchen. We're oh no. Well, that is not good if you're one of the majority of people that are listening to my podcast as opposed to watching it. I appear to be going bald, but ugh, okay. I guess I'm going bald. Anyway, so this time we're going to be talking about another youth group I was a part of, a non-church affiliated youth group called the Memorial Club. Basically, what the Memorial Club was is that it was a group of kids who ran around playing baton with Canadian flags for weeks on end. Basically, a teacher in our school started it. His dad was a World War II vet, I believe, and he was like, most of the kids in our school are kind of dicks. And so maybe we should create a club that will kind of make them not be total wieners when we're trying to do a Remembrance Day service. So basically, he created a club. Well, the two main things that he did, it was the big thing that most people saw was you had a bunch of kids that would go around and put on memorial services for the veterans and all of that. And the other part of the club was the volunteers, and that would be the group that would go into the nursing homes and visit the veterans, things like that. I was actually part of both of those things, dropping pop cans. Basically, I joined up when I was in grade 8, and I went all the way until I was in grade 11. So couple years worth. If you actually Google it, like Nova Scotia Memorial Club, you can see like old news articles and videos of us going on our trip. So basically, there'd be like the big event of the year was always our Remembrance Day service. Basically, you would go out, wear jeans, your white Memorial Club t-shirt, and your red Memorial Club jacket. Basically, all you did, you held a flag. So that's what you did. You held a flag, and if you were part of the band, you would play the memorial service. You would play like the Canada, God Save the Queen, and all that stuff. Apparently, when we played God Save the Queen, we didn't play it hard enough. R.I.P. Queen Elizabeth. So yeah. You have a meeting every Tuesday, and all you did at the meeting was you did nothing. You hung out with your friends. I'd say majority of the people there didn't actually want to do anything. You just wanted to go on the Halifax trip, which was like the big thing because you would get to go shopping. So basically, the highlight of my year was going on the Memorial Club trip, and one of two things that really excited me: seeing the massive food court that I had there and going to GameStop. And almost every single time I went, I would spend my entire food budget on buying a video game. So that was what I did. I bought Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes on GameCube, and I don't regret it one bit because I mooched curly fries off of my buddies for the rest of the trip. So yeah, in the Memorial Club trip, we would go and like visit the veterans in their homes. We went to one place, which I ended up working at once I got older. And we went there Christmas Eve, and we just kind of sang carols, carved pumpkins on Halloween, that sort of thing. My absolute worst memory of it was, I think I talked about this on a previous episode, I had to play Last Post, and I played it horribly, so much that all of the people at the guy's funeral probably were just wincing and cringing because I was just doing a little sneaky squeaker on a trumpet when I was actually supposed to be playing it good. That was one part, but another part was... and again, I think I've talked about this before, but there was a televised Memorial Club service where we had there's probably 1,000 people there. Like you had the school, which had about 400 people, plus it was open to the community and all the veterans, all their families. So they all marched in, and then I had to play Last Post, which is a little fanfare on the trumpet where people would lower their flags, and then you'd play Reveille after, which would make them raise their flags. I butchered it. So bad. Yeah. It's probably my worst memory. And the thing is, I butchered it so bad that my mom even saved a newspaper clipping of me playing it. Still to this day, I am completely haunted by playing Last Post for the Memorial Club. There was a few, I don't really have a lot of memories about going to the meetings, but I remember one time we went to a Memorial Club meeting, and half the kids that went there, they were just kind of pricks. We had one girl, she was a blind girl, and she had a speech impediment, and she started talking about how she actually just passed away a few weeks ago. She really loved to sing, and she actually like made it on the Canadian Idol and all that type of stuff. And at one point, some thieves vandalized a church, I believe, at one point, and it was like one of the churches where we would volunteer at for memorial services, and she got up and spoke during a meeting about how thieves vandalized it and how she was really upset because they stole her nephew's bikes and all that, and some pricks in the back just started laughing and giggling, making fun of her because she was blind, I guess. I I guess that's something to make fun of someone for. I mean, I don't know. Um, yeah, yeah, Steven, you're a prick. Um, Anyways, that's how those meetings all went. I had one guy, my buddy Evan. He was what you would call, I don't know if he was running for Memorial Club president or student body president, but I'm going to tell this story anyway. He was right heavy into Taekwondo, which is basically karate for losers. He was like, he gave his little speech, and at the end, he was like, now, you guys are wondering why you should vote for me. He was like, I can do everything. Have you ever seen anyone be able to do this with 2 pairs of socks and erasers? So he grabbed 2 tube socks and he put erasers into it. And he just started doing nunchuck skills. It was like you were watching Napoleon Dynamite. It was just it was the most amazing. I almost said cringy, but no, it was amazing. He just started like Raphael from Ninja Turtles. He just started whipping things around like he was, ever watch that video of the Black Ninja or Afro Man, whatever they called it on YouTube, where he swings around nunchucks and accidentally hits himself in the head and falls over? It was like that, but amazing. There was one girl named Clara in the Memorial Club. She was a little bit off, I think. Like, she had no social skills, and she like got really, really angry if you told her to behave. Like, she'd be the type of girl that would scream at you if you told her to be quiet in Sunday school, or she would like flip a table if you accidentally touched it. Just very, very touchy. She would refuse to take off her hat during like a prayer. So like we would go in the Memorial Club service, some guy would come in and say a prayer, and she'd just be there wearing her Blue Jays baseball hat. That's just okay. There was that. And one time, it never failed. Every single time that we would go and do a service in front of people, people would clap at the most inappropriate things possible. We actually did, I wasn't part of this, but we actually did a trip to Ottawa to lay wreaths at the outside of Parliament Hill. People would clap when we laid wreaths. And one time, people started clapping after a veteran prayed and was tearing up and crying. So he was like, he just started weeping. It was like going to a Pentecostal church, like clapping at the most inappropriate things. He started bawling up and crying. And when he said amen, it was just like a bunch of nincompoops. That's what he did. Now I'm kind of doing a little bit of a crossover between my episodes here. There is Michael, the super weeb, the guy that was obsessed with anime. When he went on Memorial Club trips, he'd like look for ninja swords at the Micmac Mall or something stupid. He would do that. And there's one guy we called him Tater Tot. I won't say his actual name, but boy, he smelled like BO. And the Memorial Club trip was the only time I would ever see him bathe, because we had like dances, and that's when he would kind of go all out. You ever see a Shawshank Redemption or anything like that, when the prisoner gets deloused, like throw the powder on him before he goes into the shower? That's what he would do, except he wouldn't actually throw soap on himself. He would just kind of like, people like threw bars of Dove soap at him, and then he would go in the shower, and the thing is, all of his clothes were still dirty. He was a really strange fella. He actually auditioned on Canadian Idol at one point, and he proposed to one of the judges just to try to get a reaction out of it. He's actually kind of a legend for doing that, but I digress. Most of the time, all the kids that went to Memorial Club, they kind of intertwined with the band kids. So it was just like a super, super collection of the most cringiest imaginable kids you could find. They would say the dumbest jokes. Like one time, and I actually made up a funny joke. I was like, hey guys, you're all making these funny band jokes or something like that. And I was like, I would say something, but music jokes aren't my forte, and that's the only time I've ever made anybody laugh in my life. Yeah, so that's about all I could do. We would also go on in parades. Like, we would march, and there'd be like the marching band segment and the Memorial Club segment. They combined everything. I remember one time we were marching down Main Street doing our parade, and one of my buddies, he sees me. He's like, "Hey Zeddy, you're gay." He just yelled that over the crowd while I was playing my trumpet. I'm like, that was, I don't know what I was even supposed to do to that. That was even before pride parades were a thing around our spots. So, like, saying that really, really made people laugh. I'm like, so yeah, that was certainly fun. There's another thing we did. We would also go to the exhibition, which is kind of, in our community, it was the redneck. It was like Tinder for rednecks, is what our exhibition is. We like carnival rides and truck pulls, horse pulls, and all that type of stuff. The Memorial Club would be out front collecting donations, and there was actually a couple of girls that they found a Memorial Club jacket. So they each got a Memorial Club jacket, and they went door to door in town trying to collect donations, and then just pocketed and everything. And I think they might have got expelled for doing that, or something. But yeah, so yeah, that's what the Memorial Club is. It's like it was like the 4-H club, but without the horses. They ended up getting rid of it at one point because kids lost interest. I guess they, I sound like an old fogey, but maybe they had more interest in going on using their phones instead of actually contributing something. I had one buddy who just told me it was a cult. I'm like, okay, just a little youth group. It was pretty fun. I kind of miss it. Wish my kids could go into it, but yeah, that's it. See you later.